We'll start laying down here. So maybe grabbing a little extra cushion for underneath your head or a little something underneath your knees. Maybe finding Shavasana, corpse pose with your arms and legs extended. Or finding the lower back friendly constructive rest pose by standing your feet up near the edges of your mat and allowing your knees to come together at the center. All other variations are welcome. So maybe your hands or your arms want to make a different shape. Trying to find a bit of rest here. You might close your eyes or just kind of soften your gaze so that you're not distracted by the external for a little while. And maybe taking a few clearing breaths as you arrive. Sighing out the exhales. And then settling in to a nice normal pace of breath for you. Maybe checking in, seeing if your nostrils are clear enough to breathe just through your nose. And if so, let's find that proper oral posture by relaxing your jaw, creating just a tiny hair of space between the biting surfaces of your teeth. They're so close that maybe they would kind of vibrate or touch if you were humming, but they're not all the way touching. And then gently rest or slightly press your tongue up on the roof of your mouth with the tip of your tongue just behind your teeth, the front teeth. And as much of the rest of the tongue resting up, that feels good and easy. Sense or imagine your nostrils and your nasal passageways widening and clearing so that it becomes as easy as possible for you to breathe. We're tracing the air down, roll up through the nose and back down through the throat, down into the lungs. Your diaphragm kicking in here. Let your belly expand with your inhales. And letting everything soften, retracing your steps with your exhales. And not only is the belly expanding with our inhales, we're also letting the rib cage widen. Like you're breathing with your entire torso. It's just more common that people are shallow breathing up in the rib cage or in the chest. So commonly, the cue to breathe low and slow can be helpful, but it's not the whole picture. Diaphragm and belly expanding, rib cage expanding, and softening. So that you're using the most amount of capacity of your lungs without forcing things. Whatever feels to you to be a complete and full breath. And as you continue to breathe, notice the responses from your body, if any, or your mind, or your energy, as you continue this mindful breathing. And if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for today's practice, now is a good time to bring something to mind. Maybe something or someone you want to send love or energy or focus towards. Maybe it's something in your life you'd like to grow or cultivate. It could be as simple as a word or even a phrase. Sometimes it's nice to phrase your intention like an affirmation. So kind of like in the present tense, like I am, and then whatever your intention is. And we'll take 3 clearing breaths now before we begin moving. Let's inhale all the way through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. You can be a little dramatic with it for 2 more rounds. Inhaling. Nice big sigh. You can kind of say ha, or just let the air make your sounds. You could try a few more rounds or settle back into your steady pace of breath. And we'll begin by wiggling fingers and toes. And continuing to move in small ways on your way to a long body stretch. So arms and legs extending in opposite directions. Maybe the fingers and toes are spreading and reaching as well. Circles through ankles and wrists. So nice. All right, let's bring the arms down by our sides. We'll keep the legs straight here if that feels okay. Otherwise, you can always bend them. With our inhale, let's lift the hands up and overhead as much as you'd like. You can stop a little bit early and work into it. We're going to exhale the arms back down. So we're just going to get into this flow. Every time we'll inhale and flow with the arms up any amount. And then exhale as your hands back down by your sides. There's a lot going on here, even with such a simple movement. Let's focus our attention now on the mid-back, the mid and upper back, really. So kind of where your shoulder blades are. Can you feel some weight shifting from about mid-back to the upper back as your arms lift high? And maybe some weight lowering down, even toward the middle or lower part of the back when your arms are down by your side. So just notice that shift, that pressure through the back as you move. If you notice that your low back is kind of coming up off of the floor, or your rib cage is kind of opening up and you're kind of arching, it's just a sign that we're kind of overcompensating for a little bit of a lack of mobility here through the shoulders with this movement. So just stop where your arms can comfortably reach without starting to move into the rib cage with it. So go a couple more times, keeping your core slightly engaged so it stays in place. And exhaling, lower back down. All right, we'll keep the hands down by the sides now. Tuck in your shoulder blades so much that your chest is just really popping up. We'll bend the knees and stand the soles of your feet on the floor. If you have anything under your head, we'll just take that away for now. We'll do our robot arm variation. So we'll just bend the elbows and press the upper arms down into the mat so much that you're kind of even lifting your chest up slightly. We'll go through our breathing bridge. So with your inhale, press through the back of the arms and feet as you lift your hip points up toward the sky. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale, rising back up. Check at the top that you're still pressing down through the back of your arms and your feet equally. And exhale, lower. We're going to stay lifted on this next one. So inhale and rise up. Let's stay here. You might tuck your chin slightly toward your chest, creating more length and space through the back of your neck. Keep breathing. One more breath in. And breath out. Lower it on down. Let's hug the knees in toward the chest. Take a slight amount of rocking here. Rocking some weight over the mid back, and the sacrum, the low back, wherever you can get that pressure going. With your knees close in or a little farther away. All right. And we'll find a happy baby next. You could reach to grab hold behind the thighs, or if it's easy enough to grab onto the inner or outer edges of your feet, or grabbing the big toes. That can work too. Knees pulling in toward the armpits. You could be still here or find a little side to side rocking or a little bit of playing here. I like to straighten one leg and bend the other. Just feels good. Any other experiments in your happy baby? Okay, let's release that. Go ahead and turn on to either side and then press your way up to a seat. You might sit up on a block if that feels good. Otherwise, just a cross-legged seat. We'll tent the fingertips up on either side and lengthen upward through the crown of your head, almost like there's a string kind of pulling up the crown of your head. And maybe close your eyes when you get there, just so you can feel what it's like from the inside, internal gaze, internal perspective. With an inhale, let's flip the palms and reach them together overhead with the option to look up as your palms join. Exhale, hands down to the heart center with a little tuck of your chin. Inhale, hands go high. Exhale, sweep them back down and around to the floor. We're going to add on this time. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, side bend to the right. The right arm lowers, the left arm reaches. Inhale, rise back up to the center, lifting both hands. And exhale, side bend to the left. Let's do that again on both sides. Inhale to the center, rising up. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center. And exhale to the left. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist rather to the right. The left hand will come to the right knee. Prop yourself up with that right hand behind you. Think about lengthening upwards first and making sure that your spine seems to be stacked up on itself, so we're not leaning over in any direction. We're nice and tall. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twisting or gazing over that right shoulder. Staying here in your twist. With your next inhale, turn just your head toward the left. Everything else stays twisting to the right. So we're gazing to the left. Inhale. Exhale, gazing to the right. Inhale, turn the head to the left. Exhale to the right. Breathe like normal as you switch sides. The right hand comes to that left knee, left hand helping you sit up nice and tall, finding the floor behind you. Lengthen upwards again first. And exhale, twist toward that left shoulder. Take a breath here as you find your sweet spot. And then we'll take an inhale as we're here. And then exhale, turn the gaze toward the right. Inhale to the left. We're still in our twist this whole time, just the neck. And exhale, gaze to the right. One more time, inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. Unwind and start to find tabletop. So hands and knees. Sweeping the legs around and back. Hands will be more or less right below the shoulders, knees below your hips. Hands nice and active here, almost like you're clawing the floor. Inhale and lower your belly, lift your tailbone, lift your gaze, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, cat pose. Continue on now, inhaling to cow, belly lowering, gaze lifting. Exhaling to cat, rounding up, pressing into the floor. Keep on going for a few rounds. We're not trying to make it look like anything here. We're just trying to round the spine, warm up the spine, the shoulders, the wrists, even the hips here with the tilt of the pelvis. We are getting into a lot of different areas of the body. Let's find our way to extended child's pose. Bring your knees out wide toward the edges of your mat. Big toes touch behind you. You could sink right into your child's pose here, or you could lift up and then lower back a couple of times, kind of warming up your knees. Eventually, maybe coming down to your forearms to rest. Or walking your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sinking your head and heart down toward the floor. I kind of like to shift my weight from knee to knee when I get there, kind of like tucking myself in a little bit, like my stomach kind of tucks in between the thighs here. Just feels really nice. And then breathing deeply, I can feel that feedback with diaphragmatic breath. My belly is expanding and kind of pressing into my thighs slightly. I wonder if you can find that effect as well. If your shoulders want a little something extra, we can tent the fingertips up, kind of reach or crawl the fingertips forward. Then we'll walk the hands over toward the right edge of the mat and sink back down, finding a bit of a side bend. So feel into your left side. For some people, it might feel best to bend the right elbow and kind of bring the right hand, parallel to the right edge of your mat, just keeping the left arm long. You can always try something like that. One more big breath into that left side. Start to make your way to the other side, hands walking toward the left edge of your mat, and then sinking back to your child's pose, maybe bending your left elbow this time. So your left arm is about parallel to the left edge of your mat, focusing on the stretch and lengthening through that right side. One more big breath in and out. Come back up to the center. Let's come to our tabletop position. We'll lower down to the belly here, straightening your legs. Let's go through baby cobra to start here. So find a little bit of space between the feet. Press the tops of your feet down a lot, so much that your knees start to pop up slightly. Maybe your forehead can rest on the floor. Maybe it's slightly hovering. With your inhale, press down through your feet, rise up through your head and chest, gazing to the top of your mat, and then exhale, lower down. Let's do that one more time and we'll stay lifted here. So at the top, check in with your shoulder blades, hug them together behind you, stay here for the exhale. One more breath in. Exhale, lower down. Crocodile pose is next. We'll stack the hands or the fists underneath the forehead. Rest your head down on your hands. Let your heels splay out to the sides here. Soften your shoulders. Soften your face. Quickly transitioning to a place of restfulness. One more breath here. Let's give our shoulders a little bit of extra love and stretch. We will plant the hands next to the chest on either side here. Let's start on the right. So the right arm will reach out, straighten out to the right side. We will start to press that left hand down into the floor as you turn on to that right side, focusing on the right shoulder. So I like to press a lot down into that left hand. You could bend your knees if that feels better. If you want to keep opening up, you could lift that right or that left knee up rather. Can you breathe in this pose? So, open wing pose on the right. Start to make your way back to your stomach. We will switch sides. The right hand plants by your chest, your left hand coming out toward the left side. Press into your right hand as you roll onto your left shoulder, your left side. Maybe bending your knees, maybe opening that right knee up toward the sky. Find your sweet spot. Ooh, it feels really nice to have a block under my head right now. All right, taking another breath or two in this open wing pose on the left. And then come back to center nice and slow. No rush. All right. When you get there, let's press our way up to tabletop. You could come to stand on your knees or sit on your heels as you give the arms a little bit of a shake. This will be an easier variation on the knees if you stay lifted, but maybe just shake the arms out a little bit here. And then we'll head into our first downward dog. So grabbing your blocks if you have them, bringing your hands on top of those blocks. Let's curl the toes under, pick up your knees, and then reach the tailbone back and up. Find your breath right away. Make sure it stays flowing. Pressing down through your hands and reaching through your shoulders. So the biceps end up next to the ears. And feel free to pedal your legs out, bending and straightening opposite knees. Just about one more breath in and out. And when you're ready, bend your knees and look up toward the top of your mat. Step or walk your way to the top. Ragdoll forward fold. You could have a little bit of a sway when you arrive, or stay still. Your feet could stay about hip width distance apart here, or toe heel your feet way out wide so you have more space and less pressure there through the low belly. If you don't want to be in a forward fold position for any reason, you can come on up to a halfway lift position with your hands on your shins or thighs. This will still get you a good stretch through the back of your legs, just not into your back. Check in with your breath. Maybe nod your head yes and shake your head no a couple of times, letting gravity help you lengthen and find space in your neck. And we'll bend deeply into the knees. Walk your hands up your legs as you rise up to stand. Eventually, when you get to the top, we'll find a good shake. So maybe just starting in an intuitive way, maybe you lift and lower your heels and get a little swing and a little bounce going, letting yourself really feel that deep kind of bounce through all of your tissues. Like you're not holding on, you're just letting it bounce. And you can shake your hands or your feet or a little bit through your head if you like. Just keep going. Getting our circulation going. This is also really good for our lymphatic system and so much more. All right, so we'll come back up to the top of our mat. Let's review a couple of poses here that we're going to work into our flow. So hopefully we have a wall close by to use. We are going to be using the wall throughout our flow. So first things first, we're going to try to find the distance that we're going to need between our feet and the wall to find a warrior 3 position. And I'll show you what that's like. We're going to lift the left leg up behind us. So we're just going to be reaching forward with the left leg reaching back. So this will be what it looks like. We want to have the right toes facing forward toward the wall and that left hip closed. So your left toes are facing the floor as well. So try to find that amount of space and just kind of mark it in your mind. If you have an extra sock or something close by, you could even mark it next to your mat so you know about where you're going to want to start your flow. I've got mine here. So go ahead and give that a try a couple of times, maybe once on both legs. We're just going to be reaching to grab onto the wall and lifting one of the legs back up behind you. Again, we want to keep, if your right leg is up behind you, we want to make sure the right toes are facing straight down toward the floor. So that'll be one of our poses here. And once you have that set, I think we'll be ready to go with our flow. So take a look at your feet, memorize that spot. Pick up all of your toes, give them a wiggle and set them back down. Nice solid foundation here. With an inhale, sweep the arms up and around, joining your hands at the top. Exhale, open arm twist toward the right. The right arm reaches back, the left arm reaches forward. Keep breathing here in your open arm twist with the upper body twisting toward the right. See if you can slightly counter twist the pelvis. So the pelvis kind of twists to the left. Check in with your shoulders, relax a little bit there. With an inhale, come back up to the center, unwind. Exhale, open arm twist toward the left. Take a few moments, few breaths here. Left arm reaching back, right hip point reaching back. So we're finding that counter twist. Upper body twisting to the left, lower body twisting toward the right. One more breath here. Inhale, come back up to center, unwind. And exhale, bring the arms down by your sides. Hands can stay at your sides or come up to heart center, your choice. Let's start to find one-legged mountain pose with the right knee lifting. So we're shifting all the weight to the left foot. Maybe lifting your right heel. You could even come to step up onto a block if you want to get your leg a little bit higher there. You can keep contact with the right foot, or flex your right ankle and lift that knee up to about hip height, your choice. All right, inhale, reach hands high. Exhale, warrior three at the wall. So we're reaching the right leg back as we tip forward, hopefully grabbing hold of the wall. Right toes facing down. Reach through the shoulders. You might even come to the fingertips if that works for you. We will eventually set the right foot down on the mat behind us. If you want, you can go there right now, or you can try to find your center of gravity and then sweep your arms back to your airplane pose and then step down. You don't have to stay there too long. So the right toes find the floor, all of the toes facing the top edge of your mat now. Bend through your left knee, reach the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Arms reach wide. Spin your right heel down to touch the floor. Try to open the knees up. Breathing in and out. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, reverse triangle. Both legs straighten. Left arm reaches high. Right hand can either slide down the right thigh or wrap behind your low back. Finding stretch through the left side. One more big breath in and out. Come back up, upright. We're gonna find triangle pose here. Keep at least a little tiny bend of that right or the left knee as you go. Hands reaching wide. First, we're gonna reach the left hand forward, kind of tipping and reaching as far forward as we can first, and then lowering that left hand maybe down to your knee or down to a block. I like to have a block on the highest setting, just on the inside of my left foot. And triangle pose. Usually it's said to imagine that you're kind of squished between two panes of glass. Kind of stacking the joints upwards and creating this upward sense as well. Let's have one more breath in and out. Bring the right hand down. Both hands can come to blocks if you have them. Pivot on your right toes so they're all facing the top of your mat once again. Bend into that left knee and then spring up off of your right foot. Step up to the top, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Join your palms overhead. Exhale, hands coming to heart center for a few moments to yourself. Catch your breath. Expand your awareness. Remember your intention if you set one. One more breath here. You can make it a clearing breath if you'd like, in through your nose. And a sigh to release. Let's go through that flow again, this time on the other side. With your inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, open arm twist toward the left. Remember that counter twist with the pelvis twisting in the opposite direction. Inhale, rise back up to center, unwind. Exhale, open arm twist toward the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands come down to heart center or wherever you'd like them to be for our warrior three, which is up next. Shift all the weight to your right foot. One-legged mountain pose, lifting your left knee here, maybe bringing it up to a block or flexing and bringing your left knee up to about hip height, whatever's working for you. Inhale, hands reach high. Exhale, warrior three, reach for the wall. Left foot presses back, hands hopefully reaching and finding the wall. Check in with your left toes, make sure they're facing downward toward the floor. Breathe here. Experiment and play. Maybe pressing up to your fingertips so you're kind of off of the wall slightly. Remember that we're headed to a high lunge here, so that left foot will eventually reach the floor. If you want, try to make your way to airplane pose before that. Sweeping the arms back. Whew. And then stepping that left foot down. Find your balance. You might toe heel your feet out a little wider if you're feeling the need for more stability. Inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, warrior two. Gaze beyond your right middle finger. Left heel spins down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and pick up all of your toes, spread them out. And exhale, set them back down. One more breath in and out. Reverse your triangle, straighten both legs. Right hand reaches high, left hand can just slide down the left leg or tuck behind your low back. Find lengthening and side bending through that right side. One more breath here. Come back up. We'll find our way to triangle pose. I know I like to have my block here at the inside of my foot. If you know where you like it, you can give it a try. We're gonna reach forward first, as far as you can with that right arm, and then tip down. Maybe your fingertips or hand can reach your block. Maybe you find support on your knee or on your shin. Imagining that you're stuck between those panes of glass in a really nice way. Like, I don't know, maybe a little squeeze could feel nice. Or like someone's kind of lifting that upper hand. Ooh, that's good. One more breath in and breath out. Bring that left hand down. Spin all of your toes to face that front edge of your mat. Hands could be up on your blocks as you go. I'm gonna spring up off of that left foot, stepping to the top, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthening from the tailbone to your crown. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Palms join overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking a few moments to yourself again, cultivating this space that's always there at heart center or wherever you can feel a sense of connection to something. Maybe it's your spirit, maybe it's God or goddess or energy, the void. Spend a few moments here contemplating and centering. And a clearing breath now in through the nose. Sigh it out. Go ahead and open your eyes if you'd like. We'll find our way into a squat. If you know the type of squat you like to do, just go ahead and get right into it. If you're not quite sure, I would recommend grabbing blocks or some pillows and making yourself like a little stool essentially to squat onto. If you know it's hard to get into that position, make it kind of tall, you know, make it as tall as you need to. Use as many things as you need to. So I know I like it kind of like that, maybe like this. Okay, So our feet will be out kind of wide, maybe the toes off the mat and heels still on the mat, or something like that. Start to bend your knees and just bring your hands down to your knees first. This could be enough for you today. This actually feels really good, maybe dipping a shoulder down to the center and then the other. Go ahead and stay here if you like, or continue to lower down, finding your stool, your props if you have one, and kind of bringing your elbows to the inside of your knees, pressing them open, hands at heart center. Press into your hands, puff your chest up, and we'll be here for a couple of breaths. If you've gone to a place that does not feel good, get your way out and find a couple more props to sit on, or just come to a seat. We're heading to a seat next anyway. Be nice to your body for 2 more breaths, hopefully forever. I mean, to be kind to your body. 1 more breath here. Stay a little longer if you please. Otherwise, we're heading down to a seat. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake or a tap if you like. Just a nice little tap all over. And we'll find our cosmic egg pose next. So bending your knees, stand your feet up on the mat. Hold on to your shins or your knees or behind your thighs, whatever feels good. Puff the chest up so you have a nice, tall, straight spine. Shoulder blades melting down the back. And see if you can start to lift one foot and then the other, coming to balance just behind the sitting bones. To amp it up, if you need it to be amped up, you could let go with the hands even for just a second or two. You could try to straighten the legs, either continuing to hold on there or letting go, finding your boat pose. Woo! Boat is not for me today. And if it feels too easy, go ahead and purposely destabilize yourself a little bit. Kind of get a little rocking going and see if you can get those deeper muscles kind of wobbling even a little bit, so you're testing them. Next, we're headed to the floor. You can do this slow or fast. The slower you go, the more of a core and stabilizer challenge this is. The faster you go, the closer you get to experiencing rest. When you do eventually find the floor, just really let yourself be there for a second. Oh, it always feels so heavenly, I think, after lowering down. If this feels like a good stopping point for you, you could head right into your final resting pose. But if you want a little more, we'll do just a few last poses to wrap things up. We'll find a little figure 4 twist. So we'll bend the knees, getting back into that bridge pose-like position. We're gonna press the right foot down a lot and start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that left leg up. You can hold on to the left leg to help it stay lifted, or just keep it there. Circle through your left ankle a little bit here. And figure 4, bend your left knee, place your ankle just on top of that right thigh. And we'll just get a little bit of a twist going right away here. So you can let your figure 4 legs kind of twist over to one side. And then up and over to the other side. We'll do a little bit of rock, some side to side here. So legs going to one direction. And as they do, you might gaze in the opposite direction if you want to get fancy. So bringing the gaze and the knees up to center, lowering the knees to the left as you gaze toward the right. So just opposites. Back and forth a couple more times. really easy to imagine, at least for me, it's easy to imagine kind of wringing out the breath here. So remembering the inhales are at the center. And with that twist, it just feels so good to exhale with it. Find a spot to hold steady for a little while. And then make your way to the other side, bringing the knees back up. Straighten and lift that left leg once more. And then bend your left knee and set it down, switching sides. The right leg lifts and straightens. Maybe you hold on behind your right thigh. Maybe you just keep your hands down on the floor. Circle out your right ankle, wiggle your toes. And when you've had enough, find your figure four. Right ankle crossing over that left thigh. And right away here, let's get into our twisting. So we're letting the legs twist to one side, gazing in the opposite direction, and eventually switching, and switching and switching a couple times back and forth. Go slow enough from side to side that you're almost like you could feel every little muscle fiber along this journey from one side to the other. Can really change the experience. And start to think about coming back to the center. Lift and straighten that right leg once more when you get there. Maybe giving it a little shake or a wiggle. And lower it down. If there are any last poses, movements, or stretches that you're wanting, go ahead and move through those now. And then find your final resting pose. Maybe it's just how you started today in Shavasana or constructive rest pose. Maybe finding something to place over your eyes if you like. A little eye pillow can be so nice. A little towel or scarf or something could be nice over your eyes if you like. Just helps so you don't have to feel like you have to concentrate at all on keeping your eyes closed. Keep adjusting until it feels as comfortable as you can get. Maybe taking one more clearing, sighing breath. And we'll have a silent Shavasana today. I'll leave you with one thing here. If you have a particularly active mind and you'd like to have a little something to focus on, I suggest starting with a random number, like any number, and then counting down to 0. So with your breath. So let's say, I'm just going to give an example. I'm going to start with 55. So you would inhale 55. Exhale 54. I like to count each part. Inhale 53. Exhale 52. So on and so forth. Almost like you're just watching your mind do this counting. And if at any time it feels stressful, just go ahead and let it go and just enjoy some stillness and rest before we close. If you lose count, just start anywhere again. You are welcome to continue your Shavasana, your rest, as long as you'd like. Eventually, as it's time to reawaken, you might just wiggle your fingers and toes to start. Maybe letting your head roll from one side to the other. Maybe opening and closing the jaw, swallowing or yawning. Ooh, it's hard to say yawning without yawning. And eventually choosing a side and rolling into the fetal position with your knees slightly bent and your bottom arm working as your pillow. Take a full round of breath here. Try not to brace yourself too much. Eventually, at the bottom of an exhale, use the help of your hands to press up to a comfortable seat. Joining hands at heart center, closing the eyes or just turning the gaze down toward the floor. Om Bolo Shri Satguru Bhagavan Ki Jai. The greatest teacher of them all lies within. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Together bringing thumbs up to third eye center. Let's seal our class today with a little gesture of gratitude with a bow forward now. Peace.